This is also my first time. And because I am a lecturer in languages, in business English and Swedish and intercultural communication, my focus here during this trip is to, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Is to observe the culture of India very much. I know something, of course, as a lecturer in intercultural communication, but I haven't seen much in practice. But now, let's go on to the real topic of my speech. I would like to concentrate on pondering upon the role of students in fostering innovations and creating entrepreneurship in educational institutions. I will here describe the innovation pedagogy of our university, Turku University of Applied Sciences, and also give some examples how innovation pedagogy works in practice. The aim of the education of Finnish universities of applied sciences is to provide the students with competencies needed in the future working life. And that poses a lot of challenges of the in the continuously and drastically changing world. The students need the ability to think like a customer, be creative and cooperative, as well as to be able to cope with different people and uncertainty. This might be one thing that I would like to mention. If you know Gert Hofstede and his research, one of the dimensions, the cultural value dimensions, is uncertainty avoidance. And in Finland, it happens to be very high. I don't know how it is in India. I think it might be lower. And this is something that our Finnish students should learn more about. How to take risks. It is very closely related to entrepreneurship also. Entrepreneurship is about taking risks, right? Predicting the future is getting more and more difficult. All the future professionals in all fields need an entrepreneurial mindset and innovation competencies. Entrepreneurship goes hand in hand with innovation. The ability to produce new ideas and to provide better and better solutions to problems. A fruitful environment for innovation consists of individuals with different backgrounds working together on the same problems. Kaisa here referred to multidisciplinary collaboration. So what is our innovation pedagogy all about? It's learning by doing, and first of all, learning together. Engaging students in an active, experimental and holistic learning process is really important. That is why we have developed this concept of innovation pedagogy. Its cornerstones are a close collaboration with working life and education between them, student-centered activating study methods as basis of innovation and creativity, and flexible multidisciplinary learning environments. Even our rector has said that, well, you teachers, you shouldn't have any exams anymore, there shouldn't be any lectures. Well, I have to admit there are still some exams and lectures, but the direction is much more into a very active student-centered
learning environment. Entrepreneurial communication and teamwork skills are emphasized, and the students have opportunities to participate in local, national and international projects. It's extremely important for them to understand the significance of international collaboration in enterprises, organizations and educational institutions in all fields. Picture. Now I will give you one example of this type of approach. It's called problem-based learning. I don't know if you know it here in India, PBL or problem-based learning. Are you aware of? Have you heard? Okay, then I will explain a little bit more about it. Or it can be called flipped learning. It's used in our first year students, business students, first autumn. And it's a 15 credit study unit combining different themes like entrepreneurship, marketing, accounting, and some jurisdiction as well. There is a cycle of learning, so to say. So the students are first given a trigger that it's a kind of, can be a short newspaper article, for instance, leading them to think about a specific theme. They start discussing, then they have to learn their own learning objective on their own. I, as the teacher, I am not a teacher anymore, I'm a coach, so I try to be silent in the background. I just guide them in the process. When they have their learning objective ready, they go home or study independently. They try to find answers using different sources. Then they get back to the group session, they share this information, and then after that they have to analyze it, make a summary, and write a learning report. And also peer assessment is really important, self and peer assessment, not just the teacher evaluating the students. Also, in addition to the problem-based learning method, we have many project-like assignments for our business students all the time. Countless projects commissioned by entrepreneurs, for instance, in the area of Turku. So the role of the teacher in Finland, at least at the universities of applied sciences, is changing very rapidly. It's renewing into the direction of a coach or a mentor for the students. Supporting, encouraging, thank you, so that learning, innovation and combining different skills and teamwork abilities are possible. Pedagogical solutions. So somebody already today mentioned digitalization, and I don't know how much you have online tuition at your college, online courses. Not much yet. Well, I have to tell about my personal
experience. We do have one for entrepreneurship only.
Sorry?
We do have one for entrepreneurship only.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I'm actually specialized in partly web-based studies because I teach more for our adult part-time students. So it means that if I run a course of business English or Swedish for them, I only meet them once a month. And the rest I have to be able to cover on our intranet. So luckily, because I'm a language teacher, I still meet them every now and then, and now I'm really interested in the use of Skype, for instance, for video discussions, lectures, and so on. So this is the future in the educational life in Finland. So I have a very long speech, but now I'm maybe choosing the most important and interesting part. So next I would like to tell about how entrepreneurship is fostered otherwise at our university. One of our specializations in the degree program in business is called Innovative Business and Entrepreneurship. In practice, we call it the Business Academy. So it means that the all the learning takes place in projects, real life projects. The students, they set up a company of their own. It's normally a cooperative company, and they have their own organization. They have outside real life commissions. Of course, they have some not so traditional theoretical studying, but they have so-called trainings that are arranged for them by their coaches. Again, I don't say teachers, but coaches. So whatever they need, if they need to know more about accounting or more about marketing, then they can order a suitable teacher or a lecturer to teach it for them. But it's not this traditional lecture type system at all. They have reading circles amongst them. They decide which books they want to study. They have project meetings and so on. And of course, all the time they are responsible for the customer, for the results. Dear listeners, the objective of this conference is to engage the participants to understand how collaborative innovations can contribute towards finding solutions for sustainability challenges. I think this Indian-Finnish collaboration is strengthened in this winter school and conference, and I hope it will be developing also in the workshops here, in the meetings between us participants, both the formal and the informal meetings. They are also very important, I think, and hopefully leading to an intensified networking and future collaboration and partnerships amongst us. I think the previous speakers said some nice things about sustainability. We have a partnership with the nature. This was really impressive. We have to realize that we are part of the nature, and then we probably could stop this consuming, being too greedy, materialistic, if we realize that we are part of the nature. Thank you very much.
Nice day. The pedagogy we are now following at Turku University of Applied Sciences. To be honest, as I started as a lecturer at Turku University of Applied Sciences for 20 years ago, I started to work as most of the teachers in Finland that time did. I was lecturing, then the students had exams, all of them read the same books I had chosen, and then after the exam, most of them forgot almost everything. So it was so, we think so. Of course, they learned some terms and something, perhaps 5% stayed in the head and the rest was forgotten. This change with this new pedagogical strategy, it has been a challenge for teachers. It has been a challenge for our students also. If you think that the students come to us, they have chosen, for example, to study nursing or marketing, and then we just say, please build mixed groups, go to the working life, meet some companies, and ask if they have a kind of project, a commission for them. And then they really look so that they can't understand anything. I'm not here to talk with somebody studying something totally different than I am studying. But so it's often in the working life also. And we know that innovations normally, there are new innovations when different knowledge meet. People from different areas representing different knowledge areas. So they do that already during their studies. And they meet also those entrepreneurs, people from the working life, and then it's easier for them to get internship place, easier for them to find a topic for their thesis, because normally all of our students are doing their thesis also for some companies, for some organizations, not just a desk work with literature. So it has been a huge change, but I think now we already are a little bit happier, and also the feedback from the working life is positive, because somehow our students now, they are more active and flexible, and somehow as said here, they have this more multidisciplinary approach and outcome orientation, as Kaisa here explained. But we are also interested in hearing what kind of ideas you have, what kind of pedagogy you perhaps have, and also if you have questions about our system. What we are doing is nowadays quite common also at other universities of applied sciences in Finland, but also in other Scandinavian countries, in the Netherlands. Many countries are now following, at least in Europe, this type of learning. But please, time for questions. Yeah, please.
Part of your presentation, Kaisa, what you are referring to. But I'll just quote from the Indian context what is happening was that, though we have, there is no dearth of entrepreneurships or innovations since times immortal in the Indian culture or history. And the India and China used to rule the world in the trade and other things probably 200 years ago. But suddenly things started, the disruptions came and things have started, which is very well documented in the world history. But at the same time, what has happened in that, in the Indian contextual, there's a lack of institutional mechanism which has played havoc in the education system. So there is lack of involvement of the, you can say, the educators in the policy making of the education. That's a hard reality. Suppose I'll give an example. My colleagues are also sitting. I have a mandate. I have to drive at 80 kilometers per hour. I am driving on a highway. And just imagine a situation that is full of fog, it's raining also. My windscreen, though wipers are running, my windscreen is not working properly. I am unable to see properly. I know there is a pile of vehicles behind me. They are also driving in the highway. I don't have a choice. If I want to stop, I may, there is a danger to my life also, because the vehicles, they piled up in back of me, they might hit me very badly. Even I can't go further also. All the time, all the time. So that kind of a situation we are in for last so many years. But thankfully, for the last, you can say 5 to 7 years, 10 years, we started thinking about how we can bring innovations to the classrooms or the teaching pedagogy. So changes have started taking place, though it has been very late, but it has started taking place. And say 3 years back, we have introduced this CBCS, the choice-based credit system. What you are saying, you can mix nursing with management, you can mix physics with management, you can mix history with economics. That kind of a choice in the, on a paper it exists right now, but very limited choice. I am very optimistic, I am very hopeful in the times to come, because I wanted to study physics, but I was weak in chemistry, so I didn't have a choice. I had to come to commerce. Commerce came to my rescue. So that kind of a choice I didn't have that time, but now I think the students that kind of a choice. So these choice will make them think that creativity, that will enhance their creativity, because my creativity was killed, because I was not pursued, because I have to put in a different compartment. You have to do this or that. So that, mix or that multidisciplinary approach was completely missing, which fortunately our policymakers of late, they have thought of introducing, and very little component in the syllabus we have what we call is a generic elective. So we have started one paper at least, which, the students of any stream, they have a choice to study. So any paper. So that momentum has started taking place. So I think this also has, given, a lot of impetus to the students and the teachers also. And secondly, our ministry has also, they have developed massive MOOCs, what you say, that's, online courses. That is also available free of course on the Ministry of HRD website, Human Resource Development. Many of the students and teachers also they follow, which easily they can get registered and they get it free of cost. And secondly also, most of my colleagues, they also innovating and they are introducing new technology in the classroom. Like most of my colleagues, they introduce these case studies by making them groups, and most of the business or humanities section, they are applying that case study method in the classrooms. And presentation has become, the, what do you say, the, what you say?
Routine kind of.
This is a very routine kind of a thing with the students, because students are ahead of us. Because of the Google thing, they think then they are the masters of everything, which actually they are not. But they are very smart group, and they always think ahead because of this Google. But teachers are also, they are also very smart. They know how to outsmart the students. So every time they are also coming out with the new things to engage with them. So these are my inputs. Thank you.
So in Finland, that's the students are used to get information very quickly. They read the first sentences and then they think they understand everything. But please, other questions or comments, or please, the floor is free here.
Mike, please.
Professor Kayasa Sorsa, she is a grandmother and she is looking so young. Please give a big hand for her. She cited the example of her daughter that she is doing entrepreneurship in case of leather products. So I wanted to know what kinds of problems being faced by Finnish people, because here we have lots of labor, and in Finland I think there is shortage of labor. Is this a problem in Finland?
Actually, if I answer first something, Finland has 5.5 million inhabitants, the whole country. And the area of Finland is something like 10% of the area of India, so it's quite a big country with 5.5 million inhabitants. Now 70% of
scope for Indians to be sent.
70% of our population is working, and the rest are children and older people and so on. In some businesses we have lack of personnel nowadays. For example, in our area we have a big shipyard, we have a big car factory, Also in IT business, we don't have enough uh, staff nowadays. But on the other hand, in some areas, and it means normally eastern and northern part of the countries with even worse climate, colder climate than in southern Finland where we live. There, I think some parts of Finland has something like 15% unemployment. So somehow, somewhere there is not enough qualified workers, somewhere else there are people without work. So it's also a problem for our policy makers how to solve that problem. But we know at least in IT business we have also many young Indian guys working nowadays in Finland.
Yes, only to add that we have this structural change going on, that we used to have a lot of agriculture, but nowadays, after that, we have all this technology development, and now there's a couple of sectors which are doing quite well. But then we have the problem of long-term unemployment. People who are specialized in some narrow area, and they are 50s or 45-year-old, and then they have lost the job. They have problems in finding new job because they are too old, and that is, I think that's one really difficult question, because we have so well-educated people who are unemployed. They get frustrated because they don't find a job, and so if we we are trying to re-educate. Is it re-educate those people, and they are willing to learn some new job. But anyway, when I have discussed with some people, and they say that okay, they have studied new skills, and then they send their applications to find new job, but they don't even get the opportunity to become interviewed because there is the age problem, and that is a challenge. I think it is also maybe here. But I know that India, you have more young generation, that you don't have yet this kind of problem.
Classroom innovations, please can share. Asu madam, Dr. Kavita ji.
So then, next comments or questions?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I wanted to know about lecturer and coach. You said that I am a coach now. What is the difference, basic difference between?
माइक दे दिया तो पीछे भी सुनाएगा.
Okay, so
Yeah.
definition. But in my vocabulary, teacher is just that's a very neutral term for me. Lecturer is maybe more one that really gives lectures, and actually, even though my title is senior lecturer, as a language teacher, I actually never lecture anything because as a language teacher, my task is to get my students talk, and I should be silent then. But a coach, it's somebody who supports the active student, doesn't make anything instead of the student, but stays in the background, guides the process of learning, but doesn't kind of teach or lecture anything, nothing ready. So the students, they have to realize the thing, what they should learn and
This
how.
type of word is used for sports in our education. Coaching the sports.
Yeah,
Coach
different
you can
games.
see anywhere. Coach is basically personal teacher who can
But
support
basically we use
child
it for
for
coach.
anything. Teacher, we are neutral. We are teaching and we are going. But as a coach, we are personal to the student.
I would like to say that we teachers, we are turning into coaches, but of course there is still some teachership in us. You know, it's really hard to get rid of if you have been educated.
Madam, in labs we are coaching the student, are we coach? We are teaching the experiments in labs. Are we coach also?
I think you are. Yeah.
To me, coaching is making the students that better. I think coaching is making the students equipped more and more
Quite so,
learned.
yes.
So that is actually coaching.
Well said.
In management, we use another word that is instructor. But here in Indian context, this is a little bit downgrade than the teacher. So that's another confusion also. But we use this instructor in the management field. So rather than coach, one has to be the instructor. All the background we are giving them
We
instructions.
can use the word taskmaster also.
One idea which comes to my mind is that in the case of studying languages, before when you were a teacher, you just taught students grammatical things. But now there is a really huge change that now you try to get students to talk, even though they make grammatical mistakes. It doesn't matter.
They should talk about business all the time, just in English. But, well, I don't teach any grammar anymore. I think it's useless. They have to, it's learning by doing, also using the language the best way.
Actually, I would like to add something. Heli mentioned